Good morning. Today is a historic day for us as it's the inaugural session of Thinking Ahead with ACCA. Today's topic for discussion, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, which is the most important topic for us prevailing in the country today. We have an outstanding FCCA with us this morning who is an expert on CPEC, Mr. Umar Zahir Mir. I happen to know Umar personally, and he has a brilliant story to share with all of us. Let's begin with a formal introduction. Good morning, Umar. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning, Hamad. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me on this platform.
Anytime, anytime. Great to have you. So, Umar, please tell us a bit about yourself.
First of all, Hamad, thanks for the brilliant introduction. You yourself are a fantastic individual. I know that personally. This is actually a hard part, speaking about one's own self. But I'm basically a highly IT literate accounting, finance, management and economics professional. I'm a fellow chartered certified accountant. In addition to this, I also hold CFA charter, anti-money laundering specialization, BSc honors in applied accounting, and a few other specialization and certifications from United Kingdom. In addition to this, I hold a fund of 15 plus years of experience by working in senior management positions in the United Kingdom as well as in Pakistan. And before Hamad, you asked, I actually was lucky to have started my professional career pretty early along with my studies. At present, I'm working as a managing partner at Millennium Law and Corporate Company, which also happens to be the pioneer ACCA practicing firm in Pakistan. In addition to that, I'm also serving as a director at Professional Social Network. I also have a hobby which is quite productive, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction because it's my way of giving back to the larger society and our profession, which is as a trainer. As a trainer, I happen to be honored to have worked with esteemed organization in important roles, like having conducted mandatory promotional trainings at MPDD for government officers, worked with our own alma mater, the largest accountancy body in the world, ACCA. I am also a regular contributor to various English language dailies, which include Daily Times, Daily Nation, Pakistan Today, Express Tribune, and research journals like Blue Chip.
Great, that's a brilliant introduction. Thank you for that. Let's get on to our topic, which is on CPEC. Before we start speaking about CPEC, Umar, can we discuss Gwadar and can we discuss its history?
Okay, that's a very good question, Hamad. Gwadar is actually a gift of nature to Pakistan. In addition to being blessed with all kind of trains, weather and a young workforce, the strategic location of Pakistan is perhaps the biggest gift of the nature to Pakistan. Gwadar is a strategically located area on the shores of Arabian Sea, just outside the Strait of Hormuz. It is actually situated near the key shipping routes of global oil trade, and the area surrounding this particular port that is being built actually contains 2/3 of the globally discovered oil reserves. Furthermore, it is the closest warm water deep sea port to the landlocked Central Asian region and Afghanistan, both of which are rich in natural resources and economically underdeveloped and untapped. As if that was not enough from a strategic perspective, Gwadar is located at the eastern bay of the key passing from which the majority of the global oil supplies pass. And just very quickly, few things about the history of Gwadar which might surprise quite a few people, especially in Pakistan. Gwadar was actually not part of Pakistan when the country gained independence. And back in 1954, the government of Pakistan identified this as a key strategic point for a future port. And in 1958, government of Pakistan successfully negotiated with the Sultanate of Oman and purchased the Gwadar enclave, which was an underdeveloped small fishing town at the moment. However, it wasn't until 1977 that Gwadar was formally made a part of Balochistan by the federal government. At present, it has a population of approximately 85,000 people.
That's great, Umar. That's a great. Thank you for telling us a bit about the history of Gwadar. And now let's begin with, why don't you tell us a bit about what exactly is CPEC?
That's again a very good question. CPEC is actually not a single project. It's an amalgamation and a collection of several projects, the collective worth of which is to the tune of $45.6 billion, the largest ever such investment in Pakistan. The aim is to connect Gwadar Port with the northwestern Chinese region of Kashgar, more specifically in the Xinjiang province. And the route would be via Khanjra, which would be the last connecting point on the Pakistani side. An extensive network of road and rail links, in addition to several energy projects, are being planned within this CPEC. And if I want to put it simply, it is the new Silk Road under the Chinese vision of one road, one belt to connect the entire world and initially this Asian region for economic development.
Okay, Umar, can you outline some of the major projects which are falling under CPEC?
Sure, Hamad. CPEC routes are supposed to be interconnected. However, one important part which most people miss is the concept of industrial and commercial zones at key sites along all these three different routes under CPEC. Some of the major projects that are to be undertaken include infrastructure project, but more importantly the technological and energy project. I'll outline a few for you. They include the 320-kilometer long Sakar-Multan motorway, 120-kilometer long Thakod to Havelia road, upgradation of Karakoram highway, the 19-kilometer long Gwadar Port Express way project, the development of Gwadar Port itself, as well as building an international standard airport in Gwadar. The upgradation of Karachi-Peshawar main railway line, the Havelia Drive port, and the commission, which has already been done by the way, of Armed Forces Division for the security of CPEC, normally referred to as the Economic Corridor Support Force. The Orange Line Metro in Lahore, which is already underway. But on the energy front, there are several coal-fired power projects, hydropower projects, solar energy projects. For example, we are supposed to have two plants of 660 megawatt each, coal-fired in Port Qasim, and we are also supposed to have 720 megawatt power project in Karar. We have the Quaid-e-Azam solar energy power project in Punjab. In addition to that, we are also supposed to have third block 2, where we will have two 330 megawatt each coal-fired power plants. We will have a coal-fired power plant also in Hapko, Gwadar Nawab Shah LNG terminal. On the technological front, China and Pakistan are supposed to have a joint cotton biotech laboratory, and there is supposed to be a cross-border fiber optic data communication system which will connect Pakistan with the latest technological systems in the world, and it is supposed to be installed or started from Murray itself. There is also supposed to be a development of private hydropower projects at various sites. As you can see from this non-exhaustive list that I've described, the onus is much more on the energy as well as the technological front. However, why the infrastructure aspect has caught the attention of the global media in Pakistan or China itself is because this is the key which can act as a game changer. Yep. It has the potential to connect Pakistan with the rest of the world and the global economic transportation to to actually happen through this route. I mentioned to you that industrial zones. Let me just quickly share with you that Pakistan has already proposed to China to build 25 industrial zones, 7 in Punjab, 8 in KPK, 4 in Sindh, and remaining 6 in Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan.
So it's not just about the energy and infrastructure development. I mean, as you said, there is a lot happening to give a boost to our agriculture as well. Since you mentioned that they'll be doing a lot of sort of improvements in cotton, and there'll be development and sort of so that's because we are an agriculture nation.
Indeed,
you know. So Umar, why don't you sort of tell us a bit about China is investing a lot of money, pouring a lot of money into this project. So what are the key benefits, in your opinion, to China?
Hamad, China actually imports 60% of its oil from Gulf.
Yeah.
Of which 80%, which means approximately 48% of its total oil, is transported by ships, which travel over 16,000 kilometers, taking up to 3 months, all the way through Strait of Malacca to eastern China. I'll show you the graph on the screen in a bit to show how long that route is. Now the problem is this existing route is not only not safe because of regular attacks by pirates, bad weather, there are also political and economic issues of China with certain key players, which makes it a very critical phenomena for China to have some sort of alternate route to back up their oil supplies. Now, if you look at your screens, I've just shared with you the current route. You can see the longer one that is passing through the Bay of Bengal, all the way passing side by side from India, all the way from Vietnam, Hong Kong, then connecting into eastern China. Now, if you just look at the blue line there, you can see how short the route is. Yep. It's starting from the Gulf and connecting to Gwadar port, passing through Pakistan straight into China, into Kashgar. Now what's happening here is China is actually heavily dependent on the oil from Gulf for its energy needs. CPEC will reduce the transportation distance from 16,000 to just 5,000 kilometers. Leave aside the transportation saving, just think about the business turnover that this would allow China around the year. Not only that, China will gain access to the untapped markets of energy-rich Central Asian states and Afghanistan, which are termed as the next big thing in view of the energy requirements of the world. What this would do is, with this early access, developed secured routes and trade ties, China will not only secure its own energy needs for the next century, but place itself as a world leader regarding energy security by having access, presence, control and taps on the future energy havens of the world. This is a position which is currently enjoyed by the United States of America. Okay. So you can imagine the strategic and economic importance of this particular project for China. China will also be able to spread its economic development benefit to its lesser developed region of Western China, more importantly the troubled Muslim majority region of Xinjiang province. Furthermore, with the enhanced economic development and security cooperation with Pakistan, China is also hoping to stem down on its trouble, stem out the rebel activities in this region and ensure security in its underbelly. So all in all, this is an extremely important project for China.
Of course. Okay, that's great, Umar. And you know, evidently a lot of investment is going to be pouring into Pakistan. So what opportunities and possibilities do you foresee that CPEC is going to be creating for accountants and specifically for ACCAs?
A brilliant question, Hamad, something we need to focus on. Yeah. I would like to tell ACCAs, be ready. Great opportunities are coming your way if you are in this region, specifically in Pakistan, but we need to be prepared for them. First of all, the need for strategic management, budgeting, forecasting, planning, overall project accounting would certainly increase, has already increased, and as the CPEC would develop along, it would increase even more. The expansion of shipping, insurance and financial sector would require huge number of qualified accountants who are technically competent. The need for accountants in industrial and economic zones which are to be set up, as well as the ancillary businesses that would start as a result of these developments, and also very importantly, taxation planning and management, particularly post completion of CPEC. So exciting times ahead for ACCAs and accountants in general.
That's just great news. And so what are the possible roles that you again foresee for ACCAs and accountants at large, you know, within Pakistan?
The roles would range from strategic management, board level, to junior sports staff, depending on your qualification, your expertise, your experience, and it is actually very hard to list all the possible roles, but I'll just give you a quick idea, flavor of what to expect. I mean, if you go on the strategic level, you can expect to be fulfilling your responsibilities in the positions of CEOs, presidents, director of finance, CFOs, anti-money laundering specialists, consultants, tax managers and consultants, financial management accountants, forensic accountants, manager accounts, internal external auditors, financial management or budget analysts, general accountants, different kinds of analysts for the business purposes, the bookkeepers, account assistant, or on the junior level, more junior level like accounts clerk or receivable clerks. Again, you need to be prepared for the opportunities, and depending on maybe you are studying, maybe you are under training, where you are at your career progression, you would have opportunity depending on your set of expertise that you are able to offer.
Well, that's a great news for accountants. I mean, obviously a lot more is heading their way, and they should be expecting a lot more with CPEC initiative. But that's great. Umar, is there any key messages that you would like to give to our ACCA stakeholders, specifically our students, our affiliates, and our members such as yourself?
I would like to share my advice that with all these exciting developments and the opportunities, you would be presented with wonderful avenues to explore, but you need to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And by being prepared, we don't just mean technically. You need to be very good in your accountancy skills, which ACCA equips you. You need to have proper experience, but you also need to acquire technological skills. You should be IT literate. That would be extremely important. You should also have the necessary soft skills. How to communicate, how to give presentation. Right. So if you can start preparing for this, there are exciting times ahead. Because remember one thing, no matter how great the opportunity is, if you are not prepared for that, you can't capitalize on it. So ACCA is giving you technical opportunities. ACCA is equipping you with technical knowledge with the CPD program, especially that ACCA Pakistan is running, and I'm also involved with them. You are also equipped with additional skills of local taxation laws, soft skills, etc. So just put in the effort, make your strategic plan where you want to be in the next few years, and follow it with hard work, because hard work never goes unpaid. So I wish you all the best.
Well, that has been a great session, Umar. Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. I am truly hopeful that all the insights, all the knowledge that you have shared with us, it is going to be truly beneficial for all our stakeholders, for our students, for our members, for our affiliates. And I'm also very hopeful that they will be taking a lot of these insights and they will be sort of working towards a better future. They will be working towards our employability, as you had discussed, all the skill sets that are compulsory now in this day and age for them to get ahead. And I am also hopeful that you will be joining us. We'll be having a few more sessions. We'll be covering a lot more topics in the future. And we'd be happy to have you over and sharing all your insights with us. Umar, thank you very much.
The pleasure is mine, Hamad Sahab. Thank you for having me in this inaugural session, and it would always be my pleasure.
Thank you.